This is Business Class on Your Money.
Hi, I'm James Wilkinson and welcome to Business Class. Today's show is coming to you from New York City. Before we look at some of the hottest destinations in the world to travel to for the next 12 months, here's this week's travel news. In travel news this week, Qantas is introducing new flights to Uluru as part of several Northern Territory network changes from March 2019. Headlining the changes, Qantas will launch 2 new routes to Uluru from both Darwin and Adelaide. Flights will operate twice per week on both routes with a Boeing 737 aircraft. Qantas is also upgauging its Darwin to Alice Springs route to a Boeing 737 with business class from Boeing 717 aircraft that currently operate on the route. Some flights to Western Australia are being reduced in the changes, however, with Darwin to Perth dropping to daily flights from 11 per week and flights between Perth and Alice Springs moving from daily to 2 per week. Changes are also afoot for North Queensland. Jetstar will increase flights between Cairns and Darwin from 4 per week to daily during peak season, while Qantas will cease flights on the route. Qantas domestic CEO Andrew David said the changes were about having the right aircraft on the right route with a schedule that reflects customer demand for both holiday and business travellers. Virgin Australia has announced it has exceeded its target of an equal intake of males and females for its 2018 pilot cadetship program, achieving female representation of 56%, a 200% increase on the previous program. The recruitment process for the program is run over a 13-week period and involves rigorous skills-based and academic testing designed to identify the most promising talent amongst candidates selected for the assessment phase. The announcement comes after the Virgin Australia Group was selected by Tamworth Regional Council in October as the preferred airline group to establish a world-class pilot training centre in the New South Wales city. The 2018 pilot cadetship will run for 54 weeks at Flight Training Adelaide in South Australia, where cadets are trained by some of the best instructors in the industry. At the end of their training, the cadets will graduate with a commercial pilot's licence and will be offered roles as certified first and second officers with Virgin Australia. Here's what a day in the life of a Virgin Australia pilot cadet is like.
There's no feeling quite like flying. The moment the wheels lift off, it's just almost like a sigh of relief, like you're back in the air again. It's where I feel like I belong. My name is Shelby, I'm 19 years old and I'm a cadet pilot with Virgin Australia. I remember my first flight. I was 7 years old and I drew a little drawing of the plane using the safety card and got my mum to ask the flight attendant to bring it up to the captain. And I remember getting the drawing back with the captain's signature as well as the altitude, and I was so excited. It was later that I realised I wanted to become a pilot. I was actually on the beach on a family holiday and some Royal Australian Air Force FA-18s flew over, and it was then at that moment that I just thought, that's exactly where I'm meant to be. So I decided to start a Bachelor of Aviation, and through my uni I found out about the Virgin Australia cadetship.
Morning, Alex.
The program we run here for Virgin Australia is a 53-week program. It's 4 modules of ground training and 6 modules of flight training.
First we start with ground school, and we just learn the basics to get us ready to start flying. Before we go up for our flight, we have a briefing with our instructor.
Morning, welcome. How are you?
And we talk about whatever the flight entails that day, so what we expect to see on the nav route, different legs, different waypoints, and make sure we get all the details down and are well prepared before we go out flying.
So as I said, we'll go to the training area first and we'll go through some basics, and then on the way back in we'll do some circuits so that you can feel confident with your landings again and takeoffs.
That truly is the key to a good flight. If you're well prepared on the ground, then you'll fly well.
Avionics on.
Good, runway 26 right, clear takeoff. Short of runway 26 right.
Runway 26 right, clear to takeoff, Romeo Papa Alpha. Flat to takeoff, beautiful.
The instructors here are fantastic.
You're going to need a little bit of back pressure in those turns because you've got more bank. Oh, this is so cool.
Personally, being a female pilot, it's great to have someone to look up to whilst I'm studying.
And now just level the wings. Watch that nose in the turn. Nice, Shelby.
It's wonderfully rewarding to get to take the Virgin Australia cadets into the sky. It's very important to have a calm demeanour, but it's important for us that if they're not quite ready with their confidence and their competence, then we're not going to put them up.
Physical and mental health is so important. It plays a key role in the way you fly and as well as the way you study. And so here we have some great facilities with the tennis courts and the gym. That release of endorphins, that just keeps me a bit more mentally in the zone and able to perform my best. Virgin Australia's cadetship is a fantastic foot in the door for anyone aspiring to become a commercial pilot. Undoubtedly sets you up for a fantastic career. I love it here. I've had such a great time so far. You know, I look back now to when I was younger, and just little events throughout my life have led me to realise that this is the career for me.
In hotel news, IHG's first Voco in the world opened on the Gold Coast at a ribbon-cutting ceremony this week. Owned by Australian property investment firm SB&G Group, Voco Gold Coast features 389 rooms, 2 swimming pools, gym facilities, a day spa, 800 square metres of meeting space, and expansive views of both the ocean and hinterland. Multiple dining options are also available in the hotel's 3 restaurants called Waves, Clifford's Grill and Lounge, and Social House. The Voco Gold Coast signing was announced by IHG and owners SB&G Group in June 2018, coinciding with the global launch of the Voco brand. With 6 signings to date, there are expected to be more than 15 signings in total for the brand by the end of 2018.
We'll be back with more Business Class on Your Money, and be sure to check out yourmoney.com.au. And now, more Business Class on Your Money.
Well, there's a lot happening in the world of travel at the moment, and to find out where you should be travelling over the next 12 months, I've got 2 of the best travel minds in the business. I've got Sarah Khan, who writes for Condé Nast Traveller, the New York Times, amongst others, and Leah Bemonte, the youngest American to travel to every country in the world and a travel expert on many TV networks around the world. Thanks so much for your time today, guys, and it's a very exciting time in travel, especially what's happening in Africa at the moment. Lee, you've just come back from Ethiopia and Kenya literally a few days ago. Why should we be going there?
Well, Kenya is a lot easier to get to than it ever was before with the introduction of the non-stop Kenya Airways flight, New York to Nairobi, which I was actually on the inaugural flight, which is fantastic. It's opening up East Africa to the United States and is going to really help with tourism in Kenya and East Africa in general. It'll help Kenya compete with Ethiopia and South Africa for regional domination on the African continent. And Kenya is just one of the best countries in the world. Of course, safari, but it also has some of the best beaches in the world. And I think the best beach in Africa. And
obviously you were just in Ethiopia as well. Why should we be going to Ethiopia?
Well, Ethiopia is one of the places that's kind of like the cradle of civilization, right? They have the mythical home of the Ark of the Covenant in Axum, and then Lalibela is one of the most underrated tourist attractions in the world with the rock-hewn churches. It's amazing. And on my 7th time, I finally went up there, and Addis Ababa, for African city, is really not too bad, and they have some decent properties there as well to lay your head.
Yeah, a lot of people know more of Southern Africa or very Northern Africa, so Eastern Africa is a bit of an untouched spot at the moment.
And actually, the Kenya Airways flight is only one part of the news. Apparently, the long-awaited direct flight from JFK to Kigali might finally launch in 2019. Awesome. And there's been a lot going on in Rwanda. There's been some huge new openings in the gorilla space, which is what it's known for. But Akagera National Park is going to have a new wilderness property in 2019, which is going to open up the Big 5 circuit there. There's new one and onlys coming. Singita's coming in 2019. So I think that's going to be a pretty big rival up there.
Now, you've obviously spent time in South Africa for many years. Cape Town, should it be on our radar still?
It should definitely be on your radar. I think there was a lot of bad press, and understandably so, last year with the water crisis that they were dealing with, but they seem to have finally kind of really gotten a handle on that, and it's still one of the most beautiful countries in the world. They need the tourism, and they have a lot of really cool stuff going on. The art scene is amazing, the food scene, one of the best in the world in my opinion.
Yeah, and more up towards the north of Africa, obviously Morocco, still flavour of the month a lot at the moment, isn't it?
It is. I think there's always reason to go to Morocco, and I think Tunisia next door is also going to be getting some play. I think there's a new Anantara property opening there in the near future, so there are always going to be reasons to be in that part of the world.
I've been to Marrakesh a couple of times, and the quality of the hotels in that one town is absolutely incredible.
Well, La Mamounia, a lot of people say is the best hotel in the world, and I've stayed there a few times, and it's pretty freaking nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not the biggest Morocco fan, but in terms of hotels, you really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And speaking of hotels, you're in Dubai as well quite recently, Lee. So what are some of your favourites in Dubai?
Well, Dubai, as you know, is the center of the world, literally and figuratively, and I always like to stay at a different place whenever I go there. I've stayed at all the famous hotels, and this time I tried the JW Marriott, which is known as a business hotel, but really it was a great leisure hotel as well. They had a fabulous pool, a great lounge, and the gym was like an Equinox gym here in New York. It was fantastic, the best hotel gym I've ever seen.
And we can't forget that nearby in Abu Dhabi, the Louvre opened up quite recently, the Outpost, one of the best museums in the world already, very fast.
Yeah, if you didn't get enough Louvre in Paris, you can go in Abu Dhabi and walk around for another 6 days.
And further across the subcontinent, obviously, you're about to go to India for a couple of months. And what parts of India should we be thinking about?
I mean, there's always so many different things happening in different parts of India. The new Taj in the Andaman Islands that I went to earlier this year is phenomenal. And that part of the world, you're going to hear a lot more about. You haven't heard much about it before, but you will be hearing a lot about it. Some of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen.
So Port Blair has a big hotel now?
No, it's not Port Blair. It's in Havelock Island, which is the main tourism hub there, and it's definitely worth checking out. And then, you know, there's so many new openings. There's a new airport in the state of Sikkim, which is going to make that northern part in the mountains more accessible than ever before. And next door to India in Bhutan, there's a whole bunch of new Six Senses opening, and I think that's going to be something that's on a lot of people's radars this year.
Very interesting. And obviously in that part of the world, Sri Lanka getting a lot of attention at the moment as well, offers a lot of safari experiences and just laid-back beach experiences as well.
Yeah, you can do everything. You can drive 3 hours from Yala National Park, where you'll see a leopard in the morning, and end up at a beautiful beach in Galle, and some of the most amazing, interesting history and food that you'll see too. Beautiful.
And it was the gateway to the Maldives for such a long time. Lee's been to the Maldives a few times and quite recently as well, and a lot of new hotels coming to the Maldives at the moment.
Like I always say, you can't go wrong in the Maldives. All the luxury properties are incredible. The Anantara, the 2 Four Seasons, Fairmont, Conrad, Six Senses, they're all incredible. It's the epitome of luxury right there with French Polynesia and the Seychelles, Maldives. You just can't go wrong, and you better go now before it's underwater in like 50 years, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things, and you look at Asia at the moment, the world's most thriving low-cost airline market in the world. A lot of Asia to be explored at the moment. China is definitely on the radar. A lot of some great new properties. Shanghai, one of my favorite cities.
Yeah, Shanghai is as good as it gets. I mean, once Pudong really became developed and they opened the new Four Seasons there, which is just fabulous, by the way. It's been great. It's a great place to go. They have some of the best cocktail scene in Asia, along with Singapore. And I mean, the Bund is one of the classic places to walk around, and not just Asia, anywhere in the world.
Obviously, Hong Kong's always going to be up there, and Macau next door.
I'm not the biggest Macau fan, but yeah, it's definitely something to see. But Hong Kong is hard to beat, and the hotels there, the food scene, Soho is just amazing.
I think Singapore is going to be having a big moment too. They have a big anniversary coming up, and the Raffles should be reopening after a pretty extensive renovation, and they have a new airport.
Mid-2019 Raffles coming through, and then you've obviously got the new road tunnel or road and tunnel going through from Hong Kong to Macau, the new Guangzhou rail direct to Hong Kong as well. A lot happening in Southeast Asia at the moment as well. There's a very exciting part of the world. Japan has kind of been hovering on the radar for some time. Again, amazing skiing.
Well, I'll be back in Japan next summer for the Rugby World Cup, and I'll be watching your Wallabies hopefully lose to the All Blacks, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, up in the north, up in Hokkaido, around Sapporo, there's some of the best skiing in the world. I actually haven't been, but I've been told, and it's definitely on my radar for sure. Yeah,
speaking of skiing, I had a chance to go skiing in Switzerland earlier this year, and in St. Moritz and Zermatt, and then took the Glacier Express train across the top of the world, and amazing part of Europe there, through those Alps, and going over all these amazing bridges and through tunnels, and I think the whole sense of journey at the moment, the train journey, is going to have a big renaissance again this year.
You can't go wrong in the Alps to the Dolomites. It's all amazing. Switzerland, Austria, Germany, Northern Italy, France. It's the best part of Europe, no question.
And we talk a lot about Italy, and obviously Capri is one of the hot spots, and seems to be getting busier and busier, Lee.
Yeah, as we were saying, I'm actually annoyed that Capri is becoming so popular because it's so nice. You don't want it to be overcrowded and become more expensive, but it's Italy. Everywhere's overcrowded and overpriced, so what are you going to do?
I think
on Instagram.
So alongside Capri, there's obviously a lot going on in Europe. Obviously, the Greek islands are going to be as popular as ever, I think, going forward. And then more than Northern Europe as well, too. Scandinavia, again, becoming really popular with the Northern Lights, things like that.
Well, the Greek islands are always going to be popular no matter what, because Instagram, as I call the enemy of the people, will just attract people there constantly. Mykonos and Santorini, obviously Crete and some of the other big ones. And now you got little islands that no one ever heard of, like Zakynthos until a couple years ago. Because of Instagram, they're really gaining in popularity. And Scandinavia, you can't beat it. It's perfect. Except for it's expensive, it's just about as perfect as you can get. Norway is one of my favorite countries in the world. You can go all the way up to Svalbard in the summer, and it's as good as it gets.
And I feel like people are always trying to pick like the next Berlin. That's been like the trend forever. I think Warsaw is really kind of trying to do that for next year. I think that'll be an interesting city to watch.
Yeah, and it is funny when you talk about that kind of the Berlin effect, where it's always what's the next hot city that's sort of coming through, isn't there?
Berlin effect is kind of like the Austin effect in America, and they're always trying to find the next Austin or Portland or whatever it might be. So it's going to be interesting to see, like she mentioned, Warsaw, maybe Bratislava is another one that's up and coming. Over there in Eastern Europe, there's just so much. I mean, Prague can only take so many tourists, right? So other places have to evolve.
And I was actually in Sarajevo this summer, and that was a beautiful city that I feel like doesn't get anywhere near as much love as it deserves, and it's got some amazing restaurants and concept shops and a lot of really cool things.
Sarajevo is one of the best food destinations in all of Europe.
It's funny when we look at the food destination concept here in America, where we are, Lee. You love traveling around for food. Where's some of your favorite foodie spots in the U.S. right now?
Well, you really can't go wrong anywhere, especially New York, L.A., Miami. But I love, as you know, I love the Texas food scene. So I love Austin, I love Fort Worth, I love Houston, and then New Orleans, of course, for Cajun food. But I think Las Vegas, for a real destination that has it all, because it has the best restaurants from New York, L.A., Miami, and other places together in one place. You really get the best of America in one place.
And speaking of entertainment, another great town for entertainment is Nashville, and I think one of the best towns in America, getting a lot of attention at the moment.
Yeah, the food scene in Nashville is epic. I mean, if you like Southern food, if you like innovative farm to table, doing all sorts of like Indian Southern fusion food, they have everything there. And the entertainment scene, just going down Honky Tonk Row and like line dancing was some of the most fun I've ever had recently.
And LA going through a resurgence, especially in downtown. The caliber of restaurants, bars, hotels that have been opening is crazy.
Well, I'm someone who's in LA 8 to 10 times a year, including in a couple days I'm going, but LA is great. There's always new restaurants, just like New York. You get recycled places that, just kind of reinvent themselves. You get new places opening up all the time, and like you said, new areas. So DTLA is hot right now, and then there'll be a resurgence somewhere else soon. So just waiting to see what happens next.
And then even further west, obviously Maui, one of my favorite parts of the world. You're going in a couple of weeks again. Yeah,
my annual trip to the Four Seasons Maui to play some golf and just chill out and just eat amazing food at the hotels in Wailea, and then just elsewhere on the island in Lahaina and in Kapalua, and then across just about an hour away on by ferry is Lanai, and the Four Seasons Lanai I'll be at and playing some golf and eating some restaurants. They even have a Nobu in the Four Seasons Lanai, so I'm looking forward to that.
So much to explore, and we're not leaving out Canada and the rest of the world on purpose, but obviously a lot going on in Canada. I love Quebec City, Vancouver's wonderful, and then in the Americas, Buenos Aires continues to be just this, speaking of food, this great spot to go and visit.
Yeah, to anybody who's going to Buenos Aires, check out a place called La Cabrera. It's one of the best steakhouses you'll ever have, and if you get down to Patagonia, anywhere you eat in Bariloche is the best restaurant you've ever eaten at.
I agree.
We'll be back with more Business Class on Your Money. And now, more Business Class on Your Money.
Welcome back to Business Class from New York City. GreenOak are one of the world's leading investors when it comes to hotels, commercial and residential. We check in now with GreenOak's director, Rob Naso. I'm here in New York with Rob Naso from GreenOak Real Estate. And Rob, you guys are firmly expanding your business at the moment right across the world.
Actively trying, James. Yes, indeed.
And so not just the US where we are right now, you've got quite a few developments in Asia as well, projects in Asia?
Well, actually, I mean, we're active obviously in the US. As we've talked about before, we have a separate European business that's been active as well. And then obviously, yes, Asia, which is led by Japan and Tokyo, and then looking to expand into Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, etc.
And your main hotels are obviously here in the US. You've got a great hotel in Los Angeles, the Figueroa, and then soon to come, a beautiful hotel in New York City.
Very true. I think kind of what we've done on the 3 hotel deals that we've done more recently in the US, really partnering with local people where we can add value through capital renovation, repositioning, where we're active in Los Angeles at the Figueroa Hotel, San Francisco, where we'll be opening a Yotel early next year, and then the Royalton here in New York City.
And you like grabbing an asset and turning it around and really doing it up versus going and buying an asset that has been renovated?
Yeah, so I think it's been really interesting for us. I think we have really stayed away from doing pure ground-up construction, development, and really look at existing assets that can be repositioned. So I think anything that fits that thesis is something that we would take a heavy look at.
And if you look at Asia at the moment, obviously you're in some very key cities, and in key cities where there's a lot of demand for real estate as well.
Yeah, and again, I think the great thing about having come to GreenOak is a lot of us work together formally, and a bunch of us had actually worked together in Asia. So those are all markets that we know very well. We spent a lot of time there, invested a lot of capital there, and understand kind of how to cycle through that stuff and look to exit.
Yeah. Now, you obviously do a lot of play on the commercial side of things as well. Obviously, you guys like commercial a lot then.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, the pure bread and butter type real estate is stuff that makes sense to us. I think whether it's commercial or multifamily residential or retail or even hotel. I think as long as it's not anything exotic and kind of off the fairway, those are things that we're very comfortable getting our arms around and understanding kind of on the renovation side, you know, how you look at things from a project cost perspective, scheduling, et cetera.
And if you look at where you want to be, obviously hotels, you're doing a lot more work in now. You obviously like the hotel segment.
Yeah, so I think the hotel segment for us is something that we have looked at favorably. And again, I think for us, we're a value-add investor, so I think we'll tend to spend time on markets and or product types that present opportunities for us, where we think we can partner with somebody locally that can help us through a project or something where we can be a capital provider to an asset or to a project for some reason that presents an opportunity, whether it's a partnership that needs to get recapitalized, an off-market transaction, anything like that is something that we would spend time on.
Interesting. And if you look at sort of where you have got hotels and hotels coming, obviously very key destinations for you. They're big cities and obviously cross over a lot of markets from business and leisure. Yeah,
so again, I think if you look at the U.S., for us it's been a very keen focus on, you know, global gateway cities. And so if you look at where we spend a lot of time, it's New York, Boston, D.C., Miami, L.A., San Fran, and Seattle. Key global cities that are always going to be there, where we've had a very nice penetration, where we get a very good understanding of what's going on there. It's all urban focused, so there's no suburban creep in strategy. Like I said, there's no ground up development or construction, so I think we kind of understand very well how we're going to look at things in those cities.
And you've got some other cities on the radar where you want to have hotels in the next sort of 12 to 18 months?
Again, it's not so much that we need to have or want to have hotels. I think we're very receptive to kind of opportunities that present themselves. I think the key markets that we talked about in the U.S. is where we would focus.
Yeah.
I think whether or not there was any type of product that made sense for us in any of them, whether it was hotels or not, is something that we would look at.
Yeah, you've had a lot of fun with your hotel projects at the same time, haven't you?
Yeah, I think, look, the hotel business, again, you know better than anybody, they can be very intense, right? I think they're operationally intensive. Depending on the scope of renovation work that you're doing, can be very intensive. So we deal a lot with whether it's general contractors or subcontractors, and understanding kind of what people are doing, how they're able to deliver on time and on budget. I think one of the value adds that we would say at our shop is we have a head of construction that is in the details on everything that we're doing. So I think we have a very good sense in terms of what we think we can deliver, when it's going to get delivered, and what it's going to cost. And as we kind of go through these processes, kind of what changes we need to make and what scope needs to maybe change, and kind of how that's going to affect budget and delivery.
You also don't try and do everything yourselves. I mean, the Fig is a great example in Los Angeles where you have brought in some fantastic food and beverage experts, not trying to do it yourselves.
Yeah, again, I think for, you know, a lot of us have done real estate for a long time, and I don't think we would ever pretend to be things that we're not. And so, you know, we are not people that are going to run restaurants. I think we try really hard to identify really good people that can do that, and then try to do a commercially reasonable agreement that'll get us to an outcome that we think is going to make sense for both of us.
And like you said, it's finding the right partners on different levels, isn't it, from an investment standpoint right through?
Yeah, so I think that the partner definition really can kind of cut through whether it's a straight financial partner at which you might end up having to put belts and suspenders on that, you know, transaction with other consultants, or if it's truly a vertically integrated partner that can really do everything soup to nuts. So it really depends on kind of how you go through the due diligence process and understand kind of what they can and can't do, and then try to figure out how to best put that together in the deal specifically.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to catching you at a Rangers game next time in New York.
Thank you, James.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Well, that's it from us on Business Class. Tune in next time as our journey through New York City continues.